So in this video, we're going to identify what market failures exist in the presence of greenhouse gases and climate change. So when it comes to market failures and greenhouse gases and climate change, it kind of touches a bit of all of them, but the two main ones that we could identify are externalities and public goods. So why externalities? Well, when we look at the consumption of gasoline to drive around with your car, well, you're thinking of your private benefits and the costs involved to you when it comes to driving around. That determines what kind of car you're going to buy, how far from work you're going to live, and how often you're going to put in the extra effort to actually carpool with people or to take public transport. Whereas all of these decisions, all of this gas consumption actually leads to extra costs to society through all of these greenhouse gas emissions that you're releasing. There's also congestion in the sense of having too many cars in downtown of a certain city. That leads to other kind of externalities as well. But if we just focus on the climate change aspect, you're hurting the environment by your consumption, but you're not necessarily taking it into account. So externalities is one of the causes of market failure with regards to greenhouse gases and climate change. And the other thing that we could look at when we're looking at greenhouse gases and climate change is public goods provision. So when it comes to public goods, we could think that the air that we breathe and the water that we have access to in terms of a lake and other things like that are public goods. A lot of people have access to it. A lot of people benefit from cleaner air. And if we think of climate change, well, not just cleaner air, but less natural disasters going around the world. So in that situation, if someone does something to help the environment, to help the air, not only do the people who are doing something will benefit from it, but everyone else around the planet. And the problem in those situations is that when everyone benefits, even though only a few people bear the cost, well, everyone wants the others to do something, because that way you're like, hey, you should do something for the environment. You're the one that caused it, which is often the argument of developing countries versus the developed countries. And I understand some of that argument, but when you kind of push that on to someone else, you're essentially telling them, you should bear the costs where I want to bear the benefit from it. And it makes sense if you're the one that caused some of that problem in the past, but other than that, this whole idea of having other people bear the cost and you benefiting is the free rider problem, where we rather just free ride, enjoy a cleaner environment, less disasters, less climate change, but we don't necessarily want to pay for it. So we have to understand that from a public goods perspective to also understand how much we should reduce greenhouse gas emissions by, and what are all the dynamics between different countries. Because as soon as we're going to start talking about like a carbon tax, well, the carbon tax is great, but it's local in the sense that it's done in a specific country. You can't tell another country to tax their own goods. You can't really force policies to other countries. So we're going to see all of that dynamics in the future as well. So hopefully this video just gave you a sense of how you could look at market failures and look at a specific problem and try to dissect what's going on, which will help you understand what policies to use and so on and so forth. If you found this video interesting, please consider subscribing or joining my class where I guide you to apply and expand on the information found in these videos to real-life examples. Have a good day.